All right, how about this? Big news coming out of Iowa City earlier this week. Reports started to trickle in that Brian Ferentz will not be returning to Iowa as their offensive coordinator next season. Well, yesterday we found out that that was indeed the case. And it's a move that, not surprisingly, head coach Kirk Ferentz was not a fan of.
My policy has typically been to evaluate everything, players, coaches, all that, postseason, because in season we've got a lot on our plates. And, it's just kind of in the nature of it. And it's been that way probably since I got started full-time in '81. There's just not enough time in the day. So that's where our focus is. Everything you do is precious in terms of time relations. And, so to me, it's a better time. It's a less emotional time. I can give you a lot of reasons why I've done it that way. But, it really doesn't matter. It's really not significant right now because we are dealing with something that we have to deal with, and we will.
So, Joshua, Kirk is a pretty even-keel guy. Like, he is extremely unemotional. He stays right about here all the time. There was some frustration there. There was some anger, maybe. And, of course, it's his son, right? First off, what's your takeaways about this decision coming in the middle of the season? And then a follow-up would be, does this affect Kirk's legacy, or his future, I should say, as the head coach at Iowa?
I'll answer the second part first. Is if he wants it to affect it, it certainly can, right? If he makes the decision that my son is not here with me anymore, and I do not like it, and I do not like the way that they got him up out of here, and I'm not going to be here, that is 100% on Kirk Ferentz. And he had the opportunity to do the right thing and to fire his own son before the season, and he decided not to do that. The athletic director, different one than the interim AD at Iowa currently, gave out a contract that stipulated that he had to do some certain things. He had to win 7 games. He had to average 25 a game. They would need to be averaging somewhere in the 40s probably to get to 25 a game by the end of the season. So the interim AD makes a decision that they are not going to bring back Brian Ferentz. This is also how the chain of command has to work at Iowa, because the state has anti-nepotism laws, and Kirk Ferentz cannot be the direct boss of his own son, or else they would be in violation of said laws. So the one person who could actually make the decision to do the right thing finally did. So, Kirk, you could be upset. I'd probably be upset, too. Nobody wants to get rid of their own son. Shouldn't have been in the spot in the first place.
I think this is why this took so long, is because of the anti-nepotism laws, right? Kirk couldn't be the guy to do it. But Kirk still has indirect leverage because of that being his son. You had to dance around and make sure, if you believe Kirk is your head coach today, tomorrow, in the future, you had to make sure he's happy. Clearly, this move didn't make him happy. But T-Bob, what's your thoughts on this move coming in the middle of the season? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you see a reason why they would make this move?
Well, I mean, look on what it's coming on the heels of, right? Just that awful Minnesota loss, in which, granted, I think that fair catch call was awful, whatever. But the bottom line is that this offense has been an abject disaster. For me, I'm just a bit sad because this is one of those cases where you never quite know what you have till it's gone. And in this era of football that is all grandiose, exorbitant offense and yards and scoring, and Brian Ferentz, we had a real dinosaur. I mean, all week long, I've been making small little Iowa under bets, trying to help do my part to drive that Iowa under back under 30 points. I've never seen an over-under open at 29.5, and we can't take that for granted. The Iowa under has been the goose that laid the golden egg for these last 2 years, and it hits week in and week out. So this was, of course, all inevitable. It still is. It's upsetting someone outside looking in who loved betting on Brian Ferentz to fail miserably offensively. And look, if I'm Iowa, though, let's be clear. Kirk Ferentz is straight. If you want to go after Kirk, you're going to cut off your nose to spite your face. Because, who is actually going to be better? Especially in this new age of college football with NIL and everything else, the transfer, everything else that we always talk about. Nobody is better at squeezing blood out of the stones than is Kirk Ferentz. So, if you're going to try to move on, you want to move on Brian, sure, whatever, obviously. But you want to try to move on from Kirk, to me, that would reek of delusions of grandeur. He is the perfect Iowa football coach.
And I don't think anybody is trying to move on from Kirk. I think if Kirk wants to make this personal, that's on him. But the one thing that I have learned through playing professional football and then being out in the business world and then coming into this is it's always business and it's never personal. Nino Brown talked about that in New Jack City. So if he wants to make it personal, that's on him.
Well, it's also, you know, in today's world, like there's a transfer portal and an early signing day, and like that has to be factored into this. If you wait till after the season and maybe Iowa makes the Big Ten championship, the timeline is really condensed. Even coaching hires happen in December.
Right.
So you're building a buffer as it should be unemotional. It is business. I will give Brian Ferentz credit. He had a heck of a statement. He owned it. He said he's going to coach his butt off down the stretch of the season. So he took a hard situation and owned it.